Snake Rain? More like Snake Pain. Yeah, I got nothing. Snake Rain looks broken on paper. You have so many good cards with grave effects in the game, and it would sound like reptiles have the same treatment, with broken grave effects. The issue arises when there aren't any good reptiles with grave effects whatsoever. What if there was a card or archetype that could abuse Snake Rain, however? What if Snake Rain did have good targets? In today's video, we'll be slithering our way through Snake Rain in the now, some comparisons you can make to other cards, and what could happen to make this card disgustingly good in the future. Before we get into that, if you guys want to join a community of many awesome people, make sure you check out my Discord server. It's a great community and I love to have you there. With that, let's find out the potential of Snake Rain. So what do we know about the archetype and cards? Well, Snake Rain is a normal spell card with the following effect. Discard one card. Select 4 reptile type monsters from your deck and send them to the graveyard. So I think a good comparison of what Snake Rain looks like is to Pendulum Call. So Pendulum Call and Snake Rain both have super powerful discarding effects. Both discard cards from the hand. While Pendulum Call gets you access to very powerful pendulum monsters, enables grave setup for other cards like Darkworm, Snake Rain would be similar. It enables access to a lot of powerful reptile monsters, but it sets up our grave with discarding reptiles from hand instead. So if we just discarded a reptile that went +1 while in the graveyard or when sent to the graveyard, we'd be getting a lot more value off that discard than if it was just any other card. Regardless of Ash's existence, Snake Rain is definitely a powerful card with the right targets, and I think that's the big thing to note here. So Snake Rain has to send 4 reptile monsters from your deck. Well, in that case, we just need good reptile monsters to send, right? So now that we've discuss the comparison of Snake Rain and Pendulum Call, just so you guys get an idea at the power of Snake Rain, let's see how it could actually function and be relevant. To start, Snake Rain needs to send reptile monsters. Whatever reptile monsters we're sending from the deck to the graveyard must be good indeed, and with that in mind, right now we don't have that. Overlay Eater is a level 2 light reptile effect monster with 300 attack, 800 defense, and the following effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, take 1 Xyz material from a monster your opponent controls, and attach it to an Xyz monster you control as Xyz material. Overlay Eater is honestly the best reptile we can actually send off of Snake Rain as of now. Side note, we also got a new card in Chaos Impact just recently announced while I was making this video, Evolved Mega Corella. It's a fire reptile level 1 with attack 0 and defense 0, and it has the following effect. You can only use each of the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. You contribute 1 reptile monster and discard 1 card, special summon 1 level 6 or lower fire dinosaur monster from your deck. And its second effect is you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 dragon Xyz monster you control with no material, attach up to 2 reptile and /or dinosaur monsters with different names from your hand or graveyard to that target as material. So ignoring the consistency effect it provides, the grave effect obviously isn't that great. It's mainly specific to the Evil Tile archetype, and so that's not going to help us find out how potentially good Snake Rain is. So as you can see, these are the best targets for Snake Rain, and with that in mind, they just aren't good. Are we really going to discard a card to send 2 cards that revolve around attaching Xyz materials? So basically, long story short, Snake Rain needs good targets to become good. I think a perfect example of a similar scenario where a card needs good targets to be good, and this simple philosophy that cards that access other cards are only good if the cards they access are also good. So we have a card like Machine Duplication, for example. Machine Duplication is only broken when the targets for the card are good targets. Spiral Quick Fix is probably the most recent example of Machine Duplication being absolutely busted. I know there's Cyber Dragons, but I'm talking about like in a meta relevant aspect, and Tier 0 Spirals made Machine Duplication relevant 100%. So why were some reasons that Machine Duplication were actually good when Spiral were Tier 0? So not only Spiral Quick Fix a Machine Duplication target, it's a Stratus for a Spiral card, and then you get to activate Machine Dupe, summon 2 2 more, then you summon Double Helix, you can revive the 2 Quick Fix back, and it becomes so many pluses it's not even funny. Spiral Quick Fix plus Machine Duplications is one of the more broken combos in the game. Machine Duplication was absolutely ridiculous in Spirals and definitely was a card you wanted to play. And after Spiral format, when Quick Fix and Drone were limited, that disabled the use of Machine Duplication in the deck. And then the card was power creeped because there weren't any other decks that could use it. So the reason why I mention this is because this is an example of a similar scenario to something like Snake Rain. Snake Rain has actually no good targets in the game to send to the graveyard, while Machine Duplication didn't see relevancy for a very long time until we got Spirals as a new target for Machine Dupe. This is an example of while Machine Duplication seems really broken on paper, it's only broken with the right support, and Snake Rain just hasn't gotten that right support, but Machine Duplication has. Another example of Machine Duplication is Card Trooper. Card Trooper also broke Machine Duplication in Troop Dupe format. Machine Dupe plus Card Trooper gave you so much advantage by milling 9 cards, and then when all 3 were destroyed, you draw 3 cards. Not only that, but they all were 1900 meters. In a much slower game and a much slower format like that, there is a reason that format was titled off this combo. And Cyber Dragons are the only deck to really play Machine Duplication nowadays. I feel like Cyber Dragons should get a note though in this video, in this Machine Duplication part, because Cyber Dragons are the only deck nowadays to play Machine Duplication in their decks. There's other decks that can play it, but that doesn't make it good. And Cyber Dragons definitely a reason for Machine Duplication being played. But imagine Cyber Dragons didn't exist, and then we wouldn't have Machine Duplication being played whatsoever. Snake Rain isn't a ban list worthy card, much like Machine Duplication, but is instead a card that will facilitate specific archetypes to get hit in a way because of Snake Rain's existence. So now that I have covered why Snake Rain is a good card, if there are valid archetypes and cards that can use it, let's discuss what cards Snake Rain could receive to make it good. So what do the new cards entail? Well, to start, if you guys haven't seen the Simorgh archetype yet, I'll have a video coming up on that very soon, so make sure to watch out for that. But I feel an archetype similar to Simorgh, but instead of being wing beasts or reptiles, would actually be really strong. Simorgh monsters revive from the grave if your opponent controls no cards in their spell and trap zone. Pretty straightforward, right? Well, it restricts you to wing beast special summons for the rest of the turn after that. Okay, that's fair. But I think the big thing here is Simorgh is a perfect example of what an archetype could look like if they had a bunch of reptile grave effects, making Snake Rain so much more ridiculous. It doesn't need to be the same as that, but I think this is a perfect example of Snake Rain being good in an archetype circumstance. It doesn't necessarily need to be the same as that, where you revive wing beasts from the graveyard, but definitely it could be any sort of archetype with a substantial enough grave effect for Snake Rain to utilize. Maybe we could get a not once per turn banish from grave ability. You can send literally any 4 reptiles from the grave, no matter if they have different names or not. What this means is, if there is a broken grave effect reptile monster, you can send 3 copies of it with Snake Rain. So let's take, for example, a card that when it's sent to the graveyard, you add something, but that's not a once per turn effect. That means you can abuse it with Snake Rain, and Snake Rain will basically be a discard 1, become a +1, and then you still get to send 1 more card. Lastly, we could have a hard once per turn, powerful grave effect. So if it's worth a discard, you could play Snake Rain just to access 1 reptile monster, regardless of it being a hard once per turn or not. I think this is very important to know. While we can just play Foolish instead, Snake Rain is just another way of doing it. I don't know if it will necessarily be relevant enough for a hard once per turn powerful grave effect. It really just depends. I think the biggest way we could see Snake Rain played though is if there's an archetype specifically that can be used really well with Snake Rain, or we just get really good cards over time that support Snake Rain. If we get a reptile with a powerful grave effect in general, Snake Rain will be a card you can use with it. I 100% see this card eventually being played, regardless of it seeming like we won't get any good reptiles anytime soon. Regardless of that, this is still a good card in my book, and a card you should definitely look out for in the future. But anyways guys, that was the potential of Snake Rain. By 1%, should alls won the structure deck poll to see what the next structure deck is. With this in mind, get ready for Monday, because on Monday, July 8th, 2019, at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, you guys will find out the potential of the finally confirmed Shaddoll structure deck. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.